What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today, in the review box, we have the Pagani Huayra Codalunga. I'm hopefully saying that right. This is from PosterCars. This is their first new release in actually quite some time. So, is it going to be worth adding to your collections? Let's take a closer look and find out. Alrighty, as always, let's get started with the casting here. So, taking a look, proportionally speaking, everything's looking quite good, at least in my opinion. We'll kind of pop the real-life car for comparison up there. And yeah, you can kind of see you got that weird long-tail vibe going that this car is kind of known for. In my opinion, not a good-looking car. The Huayra is already polarizing, and then you add this weird long-tail to it. Not my cup of tea, although I do love the standard Huayra. Let's go ahead and break the casting down itself here. So everything you're going to see on this example painted in this kind of metallic-y ice blue, that is going to be die cast, which looks great. Majority of the roof section here is going to be plastic. Not too surprising considering it's a big window. The base is going to be plastic, and it is going to be incorporated into a lot of your interior, I guess, details, like with the meshing and intake systems and whatnot. And then in the back, it's going to be a lot of this kind of exhaust and stuff poking through, even all the way up into the taillights there. And then again, it's going to stretch all the way up into the kind of like diffuser section there. So there's quite a bit of plastic incorporated into it. But what you do get is a decently sized chunk of die-cast metal, and all your body lines are going to be there, and they're going to look good. Overall, it's a very nice representation of the car itself. So for paint and deco, as with most PosterCars releases, you only get two. I wish they would kind of go back and do more, but I don't think they're going to at this point. So what do we have here? You've got this nice like metallic ice blue variant, which in my opinion is the go-to variant. Very nice. Just a touch of metal flake to the paint to give it like a fine glittery shimmer. I think that looks really cool. Very, very nice. And then you've got this mint green one, which in all honesty, I would have passed on entirely if there, was a second choice other than this one. So if there had been three options, this would probably not have been got. But again, it's got that very nice, fine glitter metal flake to it, which looks pretty cool. And yeah, so those are your two choices. That's all you really get. One of them is great. The other is not my cup of tea, honestly. Moving into the details. So starting up front here, you do not get any kind of plastic inserts. You get kind of little silver dots painted for the headlights, which given how small those headlights are, it's not too surprising in all honesty. But it does not look as good as PosterCars is typically known for. You do technically get a Pagani logo right here. However, it's more or less just a silver dot of paint like Tarmac Works does it, which is a little disappointing as well. And then again, back in here, detailing is there, but not fantastic. Coming down to the sides here, you do get some good detailing. The wheels are really nice. You do get brake calipers and discs back there, so that looks great. You get the nice kind of vents here painted on. You get the little Horatio Pagani signature. Interior details are quite nice, which is good considering that you can see them fairly well on this car. Coming back to the rear section, we do get our taillights looking phenomenal, and then the exhaust kind of poking out there, and then a little Pagani license plate thing as well. This section actually looks quite good. I think the only real downside is that the front looks a little bit subpar, perhaps not quite to the standards that we're used to from PosterCars. Moving into our roll test, just in case you don't have any PosterCars models, it does roll, and it rolls quite nice. When we put this one on the scale, it comes out to be 33.08 grams, so definitely on the lighter side as far as like premium brands go, but still a good heft to it and heavier than the average Hot Wheels. Pros and cons, starting off here with our pros. This was actually the first Codalunga in 1/64th scale, so that is a huge pro, I think. This one's actually been out in other countries for a long time, and it's been out here in the US for about 6 months or so. Maybe not quite that long, but Now, there is a CM model out at this point, or at least on the way, but that one's like $30. Which brings us to the other pro. This is a very nice value. So not only is it going to be the cheapest Codalunga, it's also going to be a very nice value, usually coming in at $10 shipped to your house max. So yeah, that is kind of hard to compete with. Coming to the cons, the front details, I'm not even going to consider that a con because at the price point with how small those are, I can forgive it. Okay? But the mint green here, that was certainly a choice. I'm not even sure if this car was ever like shown off in the mint green. Like, I'm not really sure where they got that from. I think like a nice silver or even a white version, something a little bit like a little classier would have really done great. This just doesn't really work for me, but you know, I have seen other people that bought only this mint green one, so this is definitely a personal con. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some budget-friendly Huayras, with the Matchbox moving parts Pagani Huayra Roadster and the Hot Wheels mainline Pagani Huayra Roadster. Now here we have it with some other premium Paganis that you might have, with the Tarmac Works Pagani Imola over there on the left, and over here on the right, we have the Pagani Zonda F from Mini GT. Alrighty, so let's get into some overall scores here. Hype level. I can only give it a 9.25 because, like I said, it'd been out for like a year before it even came to the US. And so at that point, I had kind of figured I wasn't going to be able to get it. So that really kind of killed a lot of my hype. Yeah. Execution, I'm going to give it a 9.7. There's a couple things I would have done differently. Would have released a different second color, sorry, green. And then I also probably would have tried to make the headlights just pop out just a little bit better. Feedback has been a 9.4. Seems like most people are really happy with what they got, but are kind of feeling the same way I am, that it's maybe a little step back from what we're normally getting from PosterCars, but still very good at the value that you get it for. When we take these three scores and average them out, we will be left with a 9.45 out of 10 as our overall score. I think that's a pretty good score for what is ultimately a pretty good model, especially at that price point. Again, you can usually get them for about 10 bucks shipped straight to your door, so that is kind of hard to beat, really. They might look just a touch lower than the typical PosterCars, at least to what we're used to from PosterCars and what we know PosterCars is capable of. And that is a bit of a shame, but they're still very, very good. Like, I don't really have any massive complaints or anything that what I would say makes them not worth picking up, except for maybe that green mint. Ugh, don't like that. But I would still highly recommend both of them, in all honesty. That's still the cheapest way to add a Codalunga into your collection. And yeah, I still think they're pretty cool. And that's all I have for this review, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and don't forget to leave a comment telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model. And then after you've done that, make sure you go check out one of the playlists above, and I have tons of other videos for you to check out, guys. I will see you in the next one.